And we are back, and we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, people. You know that it helps us out a ton, and of course it helps you because it helps us. Now, y'all, if you hear a little bit of background noise, if you hear something that sounds like a maybe under 2-month-old baby, if you hear something that sounds like a baby that might be under 2 months old, well, yes, I am in the hotel room on spring break with my 2 daughters and my 3rd daughter who was just born. And of course, I'm trying to get this done. So y'all, you're gonna hear a little baby in the background. There's no way around it, okay? So work with me. Now, y'all, we continue to follow up on many different stories about the state government and even local governments going up against the Trump administration. Now, y'all know that I have been following all of the ups and downs and rounds of Chicago due to its so-called welcoming city policy. Let's call it what it is. It's a sanctuary city policy, y'all. It's a sanctuary city policy. And the Trump administration, ever since it has taken over a couple of months ago, it has set its sights on Chicago principally and also Boston and said, look, we're not going to rock with that anymore. Y'all need to end that. You need to help us get people out of the country that we're looking for, that we're looking to get up out of here. And if you don't, we're going to start pulling your funding. We're going to make it very difficult for you. Now, you know that at the beginning of March, the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, he went to testify before Congress about his city's welcoming city policy. And it went okay for him. I mean, listen, he has the city with the highest murder rate in the entire country. And he's talking about how his welcoming city policy makes his city safer. So, I mean, make of that what you may. Now Congress is actually calling on the governor of Illinois to come and testify about a whole sanctuary state policy.
Governor J.B. Pritzker has been called to testify before Congress. The topic, Illinois' immigration policies. Republican Congressman James Comer invited Pritzker, New York Governor Kathy Hochul, and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to appear before the House Oversight Committee on May 15th. That hearing will focus on sanctuary policies, which limit law enforcement's cooperation with federal immigration authorities. A Pritzker spokesperson says the hearing is a, quote, partisan dog and pony show. They say the governor is evaluating whether he will attend.
Now, as you are going to see in this next piece, we are talking about massive amounts of funding that is on the table as it relates to what the Trump administration is saying that they are going to cancel if these cities and states continue with their sanctuary policies. So this leads me to an inevitable question. You have citizens in your city. You have citizens in your state. You have legal residents too. You have people who are not citizens, but they're permanent residents, and so they are part of your constituency, even if they can't technically vote. So you have citizens and you have permanent residents. And those are the people who you are primarily responsible to, right? So we would say primarily it would be citizens, number one, because they vote for you, because they make up the fabric of the United States. Secondarily, we would say permanent residents because oftentimes they are married to citizens, they're family members of citizens, they're people who are guests, but kind of like, yo, you live here, we rock with you. As long as you follow all the rules, you can stay here as long as you want. You make up part of us as well. Okay, so that's going to be your green card holders. Then you have people who snuck into the house, right? Who you didn't invite in, who don't have even permission to be there, and who your security guards are running around trying to find and kick out of the house, right? And so now you have this group of people, and in order to keep them in the house, you are going to risk massive amounts of funding cuts that you need to service your citizens, to service your permanent residents, to service your constituents. So you're going to risk billions and billions of dollars that you need to service your constituents in order to continue to service people who don't even have permission to be in the very country in the first place.
Let's bring in Sabrina Franza now. This comes on the same day the Trump administration threatened to pull all federal funding for sanctuary cities because of their policies.
And this is all federal funding, like you said, not just funding as it relates to immigration. Some of these programs that will be impacted would impact all of Chicago. This is not just programs that assist new arrivals. When the president says he's looking to pull all federal funds, that could impact anything from public safety projects to public health. In a post on Truth Social Thursday, President Trump confirms a campaign promise: no more sanctuary cities. He adds, working on papers to withhold all federal funding for any city or state that allows these death traps to exist. The city's budget had allocated $3.5 billion in federal grants for 2025.
Each day I wake up to serve every one of Chicago's 77 unique neighborhoods.
This is not the first time the president has expressed concern about sanctuary cities. Mayor Brandon Johnson's office confirmed today that the city has always followed federal and state laws.
Any actions that amplify fears of deportations make Chicago more dangerous.
As he did while testifying on Capitol Hill earlier this year, alongside the mayors of New York, Denver, and Boston. When the president says he plans to withhold all federal funding, it's not clear which programs would see the biggest monetary loss. There are certain programs mandated by Congress that the president could not cut. We do know that last year, Chicago received almost $2.5 billion in federal grant funding. Last year's City of Chicago data shows $46.3 million of federal grants helped fund the Migrant mission. That means only about 1.85% of that federal grant money was actually spent on migrants. The rest of that money has paid for things like transit security, domestic violence protection, a sexual assault program for violence against women, and Chicago's summer food program, among other things. The Johnson administration promising today to defend Chicagoans against, quote, unlawful attempts to strip residents of the funding and services that they're entitled to. Joe?
So now we have the very important question. Let's just say for the sake of argument, you agree that the federal government can and even should use funding cuts as a way to get cities and states to fall in line as it relates to immigration. Let's just say you agree with that. Do you agree that they should cut funding outside of immigration-related funding? I mean, should they just cut all funding? Like, what if they're giving funding to schools to help with kids eating lunch, kids who don't have enough money for lunch? Should they cut that kind of funding? Should they cut funding for parks that are in these cities and states, helping keep the parks clean, helping to manage the parks? Should they cut all federal funding as it relates to this? Or should they just cut funding related to helping the migrants? That's the question I want to ask, because frankly, you imagine the federal government wants to turn up the heat, but do they only have a limited amount of pressure that they could put, right? I want to hear what y'all have to say, so please do leave a comment down below. But before you go any further, please do stop right now, hit the share button, share this video out through email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of the social mediums. And of course, if you are not a subscriber, please do subscribe. I want to thank y'all for watching. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.